Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love y Mac Jones. De momento, sin errores.
El pase que no va a funcionar la pantalla, aparte le zafan el balón. Terminan arrancándole a Tyreek Hill, el balón está en McDuffie. Lo quiere Brian Cook por la banda, pide un bloqueo. Se va a llevar el balón hasta el otro lado para el touchdown de Kansas City.
Oh, the Chiefs coming away victorious over the Miami Dolphins in Frankfurt, Germany. And that is where we kick off the El Huddle podcast. ¿Qué pasó todos? My prima hermana, MJ Caso Ruiz is in Alemania. She is in Germany. I, of course, am Will Selva. 136 games. MJ, we are halfway through the NFL schedule. You are still in Germany. How's the experience been like for you?
Guten Tag, everybody. I've been practicing my German. I will say speaking two languages has been helpful in picking up like little phrases here in German. I feel like by the end of this entire trip, I might be able to put a few phrases together. Germany has been awesome. Frankfurt is super cool. Everyone is so nice and like excited that the NFL is here. There's a lot of NFL fans because when we had NFL Europe, that very first game was played here at that same stadium, at Frankfurt Stadium. So there's a lot of history here. We have some former players that played in the NFL who are here, who I got to hang out with and do a few segments during the Chiefs-Dolphins game. It's been really, really energetic. The stadium is a little bit more intimate, right? It's set up more for soccer, international soccer, but man, was it loud. Oh my God. It was so cool. We of course did Sweet Caroline. We of course did Country Road. Yeah. It was really fun, man. Like the international games, I hope so badly that more and more of our fans from the US are able to travel outside. You know, I know it's tough. Travel now is really expensive, but to have the chance to really experience the game outside of our borders is something really magical, I have to say, for sure.
And you could feel it through the screen. It was on NFL Network. And it's funny you mentioned speaking two languages. My mom has always said, mira, claro, se habla otro idioma, te ayuda. La tercera es mucho más fácil. So I think, you know, German is certainly a lot different than English and Spanish, but
it's really hard.
It's very extremely hard. Not even thinking. I mean, I could see if it was Italian, something like that, but German, I can't even imagine. I also can't imagine how you're feeling right now because you did see the Dolphins. They were down 21-0, but then they made a valiant comeback there in the second half, and their defense really was swarming and getting after Mahomes and really kept Kelsey at bay. And so after the game, naturally, MJ, the questions start to come. Can the Dolphins beat a good team? They haven't. They've been able to feast on the teams that are under 500. Well, this is what Dolphins corner Jalen Ramsey had to say about that particular narrative.
You guys have heard the narrative before about the team versus...
Yeah, all that. All that win-win. I ain't worried about none of that. We got a long season to play. We good. When I was with the Rams 2 years ago, we won the Super Bowl. We was losing to quote-unquote good teams a lot during the year. And people had the same stuff to say. And we made it work at the right time. We just kept working and we made it click. And ain't nothing stopping us from doing the same thing here. Like, all that. That's just noise. We good.
That's my cornerback right there. Okay. Period. I agree with him. Look, it was rough to watch, especially the first half. I was very, very privileged to be right on the sideline since I was in-game hosting for the entire game. So I saw everything up close, personal, in real time, from the same vantage point as the team. And first half, not our best. But I remember our buddy, our former colleague, but still very good friend, James Jones, was messaging me bright and early for him watching the game. And he's like, I remember he said in that text message, you know, the Dolphins can strike and strike fast. So in that second half of the game, that first touchdown, he just wrote strike one. Then the next touchdown, strike two. And then after that, I just sent him the crying Jordan face. But you know, it looked. I was really preparing, talking to my producers on the sideline. what's the plan if we go to overtime? Like, because it really did look like there was an opportunity for the Dolphins there to tie it at minimum and take us into OT, but too many mistakes, that bad snap or overthrown snap or whatever it was at the end there just gutted me. And I had to keep it together, which was the toughest part, right?
Inside, it's Armageddon.
Yes. Inside, I was like, okay, we're going to unpack this later. We are.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this later.
The Dolphins and Chiefs, 2 of the 4 teams that have a siestecita this week. The other ones are the Rams and the Eagles, who were able to grind out yet another win. Now, you're in Germany. Are you going to be there for the Colts-Patriots game?
I am. Right back on the sidelines.
Okay.
Nice and chilly. And chilly throughout the game. Our amazing colleagues, Stacey Dales and Sarah Walsh, will be on the sidelines as well for the actual broadcast. They're fantastic, along with Rich Eisen and Dan Ogilvy and Jason McCourty. So it'll be great.
Yeah, love it. A lot of what's being talked about over in the U.S., maybe particularly in the Northeast, maybe particularly in Boston, is the job status of Bill Belichick, because MJ, he was peppered about his future, because the thinking is Robert Kraft is not liking what he's seeing, which I'm sure Bill Belichick hasn't liked what he's seen this season either. But he was asked about his future, and this is what transpired between B Squared and the reporters.
Have you been given any assurances from ownership about your job status for the rest of the season?
Yeah, my focus is on getting ready for the Colts.
Do you personally believe that you could be coaching for your job this week against the Colts?
I'm going to control what I can control and get ready for the Colts.
Just how has this season, affected you personally, and has it, enhanced or diminished your desire to continue coaching?
Yeah, I do the same thing I always do. I try to do the best I can to help our team every week.
It kept going too, MJ.
We're on to Frankfurt. Wow. I don't know. I'm just of the mindset, like, fam, no one is firing Bill Belichick. Like, I understand. I can understand the theory here. The team is not playing well. Typically, at this point in the season, we have seen it in the past. It's the coach who goes, except that this is the Patriots and this is Bill Belichick. So I didn't have an expectation. I will say, like, as a reporter, like, good on you guys for not letting up, right? Especially when you know that Bill is going to give you the exact same answer time after time after time. And good on Bill for sticking to his usual beats there.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. And hey, credit to the reporters. They didn't stop. You think he's looking forward to that beer out there in Germany, MJ?
Gosh. Immediately. Good grief. I'm sure there was one right after the game. No question. Especially a game where they lost by 3 points, like it wasn't like they were blown out or shut out for that matter, but still an L is a L. And that's about it. But I'm curious to see the fan dynamics here because of the dynasty that Bill Belichick built with the Patriots in New England. I know that those type of things translate heavily when it comes to fan bases outside of the U.S. So I think there will be a lot of Patriots fans. But I was just hanging with a former NFL player who was drafted by the Colts. His name is Bjorn Werner, and he is huge here. Huge.
Is he really? Okay.
Mega star, super cool. There was another man who played for the Giants. His name is Marcus Kuhn. Super cool dude. Like, cool I'm going to something on Friday called the Bromania. Not sure what to expect. I heard our girl Colleen Wolf was there last year in Munich, so I couldn't. Who says no to that, right?
Yeah.
I heard there's a smoke machine involved, strobe lights, so I'll report back. But there is definitely a contingent of Colts fans and of Giants fans because they have their local guys here, their fellow countrymen who played for those teams. So I think it'll be interesting.
It makes sense. Honestly, I can see that they're enthusiastic about those players in the NFL. You know who we're really enthusiastic about is John Sutcliffe of ESPN Deportes. He brings the energy, he brings the hype, and we are going to talk to him on the other side here on the El Huddle podcast. You don't want to miss that. Career advice, what it's like to hang out with Aaron Rodgers, what's he really, really like behind the scenes. We ask him all that stuff coming up on the El Huddle podcast.
Llegamos a Nueva York, tenía que ver a mi amigo, darle su agüita. Aaron, me ayudas como siempre a la de 3. 1, 2, 3. Monday Night Football. Monday Night. Vamos amigos.
Allá está el legado. Y no estoy hablando de Aaron Rodgers, estamos hablando del legado, el famosísimo John Sutcliffe de ESPN Deportes. John, bienvenidos.
Thank you, gracias. Muchas gracias a los dos. Thank you both for having me. And yes, it was fun. He saw me yesterday and said, ¿Qué pasa? And beep. Todo bien, amigo. No, he's special. You know, people don't know who he is, the heart he has. He's helped me out with a golf event I do with kids with cancer, and he does so many things. And he's a great guy, and he wants to come back. He's gonna try.
Expand on that, John, porque creo que le dan como mal de ojo, ¿verdad? Like he gets a bad rep, and like present company included, ¿verdad? Because all the headlines, uno como que se cansa a veces, pero tú conoces a Aaron, you know Aaron the man, right? So can you share a little bit of that with us?
Yo creo que there's an Aaron that people don't know, that he's just a guy, you know, if you don't do your work during the week, he's not going to throw at you, but he's a winner, and as a reporter, you got to ask him, always when I cover soccer, or there's an injury, I said, del 1 al 10, from 1 to 10, how you doing? He said, 120. The kind of injury I've had, I'm in 120, John, and I'm in a mission. The next month, it's going to be key. El próximo mes va a ser clave. I got to run, I got to move, I got to do everything. So if in the next 4 weeks I can get it done, and the Jets make it to the playoffs,
it's a big if.
He'll be back, of course. There's a lot of ifs, but in his mind, after speaking with him ayer, él está en una misión. Él quiere regresar. ¿No?
Claro.
Está en el focus. I think that's it. You know, I've always said about it. Sí.
Sería un milagro, ¿no?
Sí, sería un milagro, pero te habla que it's not the money, ¿no? I remember in the Packer days, it's like you guys treated bad my people, ¿no? Jordan wanted to stay, and you never talked to him, and Matthews wanted to stay, and there's a lot of things that people don't really know. I hope someday he writes a book and tells the story of many things, and the fact that no está cobrando el cheque por cobrarlo, William.
Claro.
¿No?
Sí, claro.
Él podría estar ahorita en San Diego, California, relaxing with a cigar y decir, bueno, ni modo, we'll see what happens next year, ¿no? Entonces, ahí está, veo difícil a los Jets, ¿no? They can't convert a third down. No, I don't know how they can. I think it's going to be difficult for them, pero mira, les voy a contar una historia. I'll tell you a story about it.
Okay.
About four or five years ago, I took my son Enrique. He was at that time about 8 years old. So he wanted, Aaron comes out and he said, Enrique, follow your dreams. Sigue tus sueños. So imagine he got in shock, no? Like Aaron said, follow your dreams, no?
Yeah.
So yesterday, I tell Aaron, Enrique doesn't want to, he won't watch a game till you're back. So we recorded a little video, family video, and he says, Enrique, I'll come back. No, and then he said, give me something. Let me send him something. So he gave me this jersey.
Wow.
Said,
wow.
No, so it says, dream big siempre. Sueña grande siempre. Dream big always. And I think this tells you who this guy is. No?
Wow.
And then the cap of the Dobel tequila I gave him is huichol. It's handmade. It took a month. And you know, he knows about it. So that's the part I love. You know, he goes to Peru. He might be doing his own things that people might not understand. But when you give him something that was handmade by a person in Oaxaca, it took him a month to make a cap. And he says, wow, John, that's beautiful. It's amazing. And I know the time it takes. That's Aaron Rodgers that I get to know, that he's the good guy. No, and look, he's a winner. And when MVP sometimes are cocky, because if you're not cocky, you're not going to be good. No, but we'll see. Right. I'm just lucky to consider him un amigo. No.
Wow. Enrique's about to run through a wall when he sees that jersey.
Yeah, qué dichoso.
So I called him last night. He answers the phone, and the first thing he says, "Me firmó algo, papá? Te design anything?" He didn't say, "Where are you? How are you doing?" And
Nada.
You know? And then you know how it is. In our life, private life, I keep it private, and
of course
it's hard. But when you're a dad, things change. No?
Yeah.
Yeah. Estoy 100% de acuerdo. ¿Habla bastante el español, Aaron Rodgers?
Muy bien. Sí, yo creo que aprendió muchos bad words muy bien. Sí habla, a ver, sí vivió en California, ¿no? Cerca de, y luego por cerca de Sacramento, pues toda la gente que interactúa, ¿no? Yo creo que this is a great opportunity. You know, the biggest minority in the United States somos los latinos, MJ. Well, esto ha cambiado. I'll tell you another quick story. I met a person from Wasserman, this group that does all the research.
Right.
And the NBA wanted to do sponsorship on their jerseys. Y para su sorpresa, to their surprise, they realized that the fan that spends the most in the U.S. It's not the Cowboys, not the Packers, not the Yankees. It's the Mexican national team.
Ooh,
de la selección
mexicana.
Wow. So imagine the eyes popping, no? So I think, I was joking the other day, Hispanic Heritage Month, it's great. It's our month. No, it's every day. It's nowadays. You have to realize what's going on in the U.S. And I love it, no? I'm a Mexican American. My mom's a Texan. My dad was a Mexican. Entonces, estamos de moda. We're in, and we're going to be in for even more time, ¿no?
Qué chido, ¿no?
Chido. Yo diría poca algo, pero no vaya a ser el beat.
Por si acá. The fastest growing demographic in the United States as well. We can't forget that. Pero, John, contigo no es solamente Aaron Rodgers, right? Players can't help themselves if they are playing on a Monday night game. Ya lo he visto por tu Instagram, por todas tus redes sociales. That Monday night, I asked him when we were in Mexico a couple of years ago. I was like, John, I have to have this with you, please. ¿Cómo comenzó eso? ¿Cuál fue el primero? Y de ahí, bueno, ya lo vemos.
La verdad, no lo sé exacto. Te lo juro, surgió natural cuando ESPN. Antes de eso, yo hacía Sunday night.
Right.
Y de repente, siempre he dicho que I have a chicken voice, ¿no? Voz de pollo. Entonces, Monday night, and it's not something that I look for it. And then it became something, and then people, you know, that day in Estadio Azteca, the Cardinals and the 49ers, the league invited me to yell right before kickoff. You know, I had tears. And I think about it, and I'll get tears right now. Porque volteo, and I see the whole stadium going crazy, you know? So it was awesome. And I remember next week, we were in Indy, Colts, Steelers, and TJ Watt says, give me a hug. I need some of that energy. And I said, no, I need some of your energy. And we hugged, things like that. Or Halloween in Detroit that I told the PR, because you got to do things the right way, no?
Of course.
I'll wear a costume for one or two hits, and that's it, because important is the game. But I told PR, hey, and I went to Goff and said, costume after the game. So he knew. And then I'm interviewing with a bear costume, the Post in Detroit last week, and I could see Goff about to burst laughing. And I think it's about entertaining, divirtiendo, no?
Claro.
I'll never forget what Joe Buck's dad told me one day, you know, kid, you only use 5% of what you're going to use. The other 95% better be as good. So I still prepare. I still read. I do my rep of things, but at the same time, I want to be who I am and have some fun and realize that, you know, that sometimes, like last night, Joey Bosa is not the type to do Monday night, but he was fiesta, because I said, you know, you got a receiver, got 10,000 yards tonight. How's the celebration? Hey, we're sleeping here, fiesta, things like that. Because sometimes you can go viral the right way or the wrong way, ¿no?
Pero,
sí.
Mira, claro, allá está la foto, mira aquí.
Sí. You know, the first time I did it was in Soldier Field hace como 10 años. And I remember I stared at the stadium y todo el mundo me veía. Y dije, oh my God, ¿qué estás haciendo, Sutcliffe, no? And now I did it Monday and I was enjoying it so much. It's like you I have dyslexia. I grew up with dyslexia, and my mom would take me to my tutoring all the time, and I would mix letters. And she said, you got to be good. She gave me a lot of assurances about myself. So sometimes I have to worry that I don't care about doing things that could get me into trouble. But it's at the end of the day, the National Football League, Monday Night Football, is about entretener, divertida la gente. No tomarlo tan en serio, ¿no?
Claro.
Without missing the respect of the game, ¿no? But one thing, once the game starts, the game's the game, ¿no?
Y los otros jugadores, como veo que ellos ven el valor de la cultura de los latinos, los aficionados del fútbol americano, como has visto que en estos años recientemente, siento como que los jugadores están parte de esto, como lo ven, el valor de conectar con los aficionados latinos.
Sí, porque en su vida diaria se topan más y más latinos, van a un restaurante, van en un avión, ¿no? Por ejemplo, ayer me tocó un policía de San Salvador, de los que están todos, ya sabes, uniformados de Nueva York. ¿No se va a comer unas arepas? En El Salvador. Le dije, no, but there's an audio guy who's doing pranks to me. Can you go scare him?
Oh my God.
What are you doing here? Can you... Things like that. Está cambiando el mundo. Claro. Esa gente, I always say that this movie on Disney, Spicy Hot, the guy from Frito-Lay who invented chili and all this stuff.
Yes.
That's a clear example of the footprint of the United States. No, those you go and have chipotle. That's another one I always say. Wait, chipotle is a jalapeno put to the sun. It's not a fast food joint. No?
Right.
People say, "Oh, John. Oh, I didn't know that." Well,
educate.
Yes, it's a jalapeno put to the sun that has, se cuece, le sale jugo y se vuelve el chipotle. Entonces dices, I didn't know that. Well, that's a chipotle. No, not the fast food place, but whatever.
Education is so important, John.
Yeah.
Really, really is. Pero me chocó mucho what you said about Joe Buck's dad. You use 5% of what you have, but the other 95% has to be just as good. And I think I would imagine that's what allows you to be able to let loose and show your personality and have some fun y no estar tan serio todo el tiempo, porque ya sabes que todo lo que has hecho en tu carrera, la trayectoria que te trajo hasta este momento, is solid, right? So you can have a little bit more fun because you've put in the work, because you know what you've done to get here, right?
See, I said, let's say I have my notes here, and sometimes the biggest mistake is I did my homework. I got to get it out there. And then people
yes,
MJ, Will, John, take it easy. Like, don't throw me all your nuggets. And then you have to learn to react on what you're reporting. As a sideline reporter, my eyes have a privilege of seeing things that people can't see. People, I'm not going to tell, well, they're in a streak, or they've had 8 interceptions, blah, 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 blah. No, platícame qué está pasando allá abajo. Y a mí se me hace... That's a great advice I got someday. And another one, Norberto Longo, a long-time announcer in the U.S. who passed away, he said, Sean, Argentinian, la televisión es una mentira. Sí, Sean. ¿No? Well, yo me llamo John, no Sean, pero bueno. ¿No? Sean, la televisión es una mentira y nunca te la vayas a creer. TV is a big fat lie. And I think that's as normal. It's the truth, no? It's something you're like, oh, I do this. A ver, our only difference is that we work and people see on TV what we did. And there's probably people that work as much as we work and we don't see them on TV. Entonces, eso es el prepárate and be low key, ¿no? I think it's very important to be low maintenance, ¿no?
Yeah.
How many producers say he's high maintenance? He's low maintenance. And I think that's the biggest compliment one as a talent can get, ¿no?
Pues, Sean, eres un caballero, por favor, chico.
No. Bueno, eso que los quiero mucho. Saludos, salió Messi.
Mira, pero la cosa es que en español las cosas suenan como más con entusiasmo, ¿no? Que los gritos se oyen como que 100% se puede sentir, ¿no? En la alma. Y mira, en inglés se puede sentir, pero hay algo que en español, no sé si es porque yo soy latino o qué, pero
la
es
chispa.
algo, sí, la chispa, no sé, algo que siento, la conexión, ¿no? Que siempre cada cosa no es como muy quieto, ¿no? Muy callado, muy calmado, no, porque también hay entusiasmo y siempre cuando ponemos ahí en el podcast, siempre oímos algo que pasa, algo sucede en el juego de los Raiders y con los Patriotas, lo que sea, y solo se suena algo que es una conexión profunda también.
Una vez una nutrióloga me hizo un estudio de cómo es y ya todas esas cosas que te dicen. Y los latinos tenemos fibras diferentes, por ejemplo, que los europeos. Entonces también el darte un abrazo, el ¿qué onda, güey? ¿Cómo estás? Hace mucho no te veo. O sea, para nosotros es normal. Si ahorita veo a MJ, ¿cómo estás? Un abrazo.
Claro.
Entonces es como, somos más efusivos, aunque hoy en el mundo hay que tener mucho cuidado de lo efusivo y todo ese tema, pero somos más de oye, ¿cómo estás? Te doy un beso en la mejilla, bien, ¿cómo está la familia? Toda esa parte que a veces las culturas, pero sí creo que es mucho como our body type, la manera que somos.
It's generational. Eso es de generaciones que nuestra tatarabuela y la bisabuela y la abuela y la mamá nos enseñaron ese calor de la comunidad latina. Eso es lo que yo siempre pienso, el calor de nosotros. John, antes de que te dejemos ya montarte en otro avión, ¿cuál advice nos diera a nosotros los latinos que estamos tratando de llegar a donde estás tú? Porque I think your career has been such a blueprint of authenticity. And I think the authenticity part is what I admire so much. So what's your advice?
Mira, I think todos los días busca soñar. Yo ahorita estoy justo en un proceso de soñar hacer un crossover más importante. Yo creo que este es el momento donde we can do a show and speak half and half. People understand. I think that's the thing that's what I want to do. That's my big goal in the coming years, to try and get more into, like we call the domestic side, no? Do more of that kind of work. But the advice is prepare. Read. Si quieres tienes que ser bilingüe. Tienes que saber hablar inglés bien, saber hablar español bien. Porque
es una ventaja.
Yo fui con el proceso. Yo fui el primer latino en hacer Monday Night Football en San Francisco, Pittsburgh, y the lights went off. Y a mí se me ocurrió muy fácil pensar en español. Y si no tienen ni idea de lo que está pasando, dije, they don't know what the hell's going on. Entonces se volvió viral. Para bien y para mal. Mucha gente dice, ¿cómo dice? How could he say something like that? But I got a teacher, I got advice, and I said, I'll be back, and we're back, ¿no? But that part, ¿no? El no tener miedo, el don't have a comfort level, el decir, sí podemos. Y ya no es Hispanic Heritage Month, lo vuelvo a decir. It's every day.
Cada
Pero
día.
también con preparación, con ser una buena persona y sobre todo prepararte. Follow your dreams. ¿Quién no te va a decir que no puedes? Who's going to tell you can't do it? You got to do it. And forget about the past and if they like us, they don't like. Eso no importa. Hoy los latinos somos la minoría más grande en los Estados Unidos. Le gusta al que le guste y al que no le guste, es una realidad. Y el latino es el que más consume, el que más gasta de lo que gana, porque tenemos una cultura de gastar lo que ganamos. Entonces los latinos I think Latins in the US are going to grow y desde el corazón. Gracias. ¿Cómo les puedo decir eso?
Y punto.
Sí, y punto ahí. Pero John, ¿puede ser que tenemos un equipo del fútbol americano en la Ciudad de México en el futuro? ¿Crees que hay posibilidad? No.
No, la economía, la verdad, la economía no lo da. Economy, you can't.
Claro.
If a city like St. Louis, Missouri couldn't handle an NFL team, no? And they got MLB and they hockey. I think Mexico will have more games. I see when Estadio Azteca is done. I think the NFL will go to Rio de Janeiro next season. That's my gut feeling. I think Madrid, the new Real Madrid stadium is there, but the largest attendance in the history of the NFL, I was there in 93, 94, Oilers, Cowboys, about 114,000. And I always told Jerry Jones, Senor Jones, your attendance is people standing up. We have it all sitting down. So that tells you the biggest market of the NFL outside the U.S. is Mexico. We love it, and we're going to get more games. But I don't think the price structure, the box seats, what it would cost. You know, if we have 2 games a year,
or the number of games, right? Let's just
It gets to a point you have 2 games, sell out. Sponsors locally can handle it. If you had a full season, la economía no lo permite, no?
Right.
And that happens with the NBA, Major League, PGA Tour, because we're the only country in Mexico that has every professional sport. We just need hockey to go there, and then we say we have everything. Like the NBA is playing on Thursday in Mexico City, for example. No?
Crazy. John, muchísimas gracias por tu tiempo.
Muchísimas gracias.
Por tus historias. Love story time with John.
Yeah, the best.
No vamos a gritar un Monday night a la de 3.
Sí, por favor.
Nos falta. Comienza.
A la 1:03. ¿Están listos para?
Listo.
Monday night football. Monday night.
It's too good. It's too good.
Mil gracias, John.
Gracias por su tiempo. Un abrazo a los dos.
Gracias a ti. Safe travels. Nos vemos pronto.
Safe travels.
Gracias.
Darius Davis con el regreso de patada, una buena patada profunda. Y ahí viene, está por la yarda 20, la 30, en la 40, ¿quién queda? Parece que absolutamente nadie, no te lo puedo creer, serán los Chargers anotando primero. El regreso de patada espectacular. Darius Davis, 6 puntos para los Chargers.
That should have been the first omen there for the Jets on how this night was going to go. I love that Rebeca's called there. ¿Quién queda? Nadie. Absolutamente nadie. He's just going to go. Fantastic.
Yeah, and that Jets game, unfortunately, we saw them commit penalties, turnovers. It was an ugly affair. And talking to John about Aaron Rodgers, there's a belief that if they can actually tread water while he's gone, that maybe he plays later on. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen. But I guess it's a cautionary tale because you don't want to doubt Aaron Rodgers and his ability because he really thrives on that.
Right, but it's not even his ability at this point. Can the team manage it to put him in a situation where he can come back and and take it the rest of the way for them in the postseason, especially when you think about the division. I mean, it's not looking great for them is the reality of the situation. Yeah. And it sucks because even as somebody who is a divisional rival of the Jets, who cheers for a divisional rival of the Jets, I was excited to see this division be really hyper competitive and to see these teams go at it and to see what this was going to do down the stretch. We can't have nice things, apparently. No, you can't. But, in Minnesota, I guess maybe you can, because that trade with the Cardinals to get Josh Dobbs, my new favorite. I love that guy. Really an incredible storyline, what he did. People don't understand that. If you're a quarterback and you go from one team to another, and if the verbiage is even slightly different, that's hard. You have to really be able to get up to speed on the personnel. He barely knew his teammates, didn't really know their names. And, no, and he was the backup, right? But this guy is so bright, aeronautical engineer out of Tennessee, and he was asked what it was like to make the transition earlier in the week from the Cardinals to the Vikings, and this is what he said about it.
It's like if you were taking Spanish all year, and you showed up, and Wednesday someone told you you're taking AP Spanish, and someone told you have an AP French exam on Sunday, and you gotta go execute. Someone's gonna talk to you in Spanish and translate it to the French. So that's kind of like what was going on out there. There was a lot of communication, but I'm able to process a lot of information and be able to react on it and not let it handcuff myself and my play. And so it was good. It was good to be able to hear what he was saying, and as I'm processing what the defense is giving me, and then go out and still play good football.
They call him the
I want
pastronaut.
to sit down with Josh Dobbs so badly and just pick his brain and hopefully absorb some of his knowledge. You know how smart he is when he's putting this analogy out there for us. I don't think it was coincidental that he used French and Spanish, since Spanish is the root of French. So there is like a base layer there between the two. And that's why he was making that connection between the two offenses, because it is football at the end of the day, but it's vastly different when you go from one franchise to the next. He's too smart. I'm obsessed. Love this storyline. Love it for him. Love it for us. Love it for the Vikings. I can't get enough of this. Like, this is so good. So good.
Side note though, did you take AP Spanish in high school, or did you take something
Did I
else?
take AP Spanish even though I was already a fluent Spanish speaker? Yes, I did.
No,
Yes,
so did I.
did.
But here's the thing though, MJ.
Did.
I'll say this because people gave me a bad time too. But it's like, I take English classes.
Thank you.
So why wouldn't I take a Spanish class to get better?
The grammar is different. All of it. Thank you, Will.
Yes. I
want to hear nothing from nobody.
Yeah. So that aside, that was a fun storyline. Another great storyline is Aiden O'Connell guiding the Raiders to a win over the Giants. And granted, people will say, yes, it's the Giants, and Daniel Jones suffered that ACL injury, which was very unfortunate. But the Raiders had a tumultuous week. Interim head coach and Antonio Pierce. They have a new interim general manager. They have a new OC. They got rid of the old one.
A lot happening.
A lot happening. The play calling was much better. There was more juice on the sidelines. And while this is fantastic and this is their first win, and hope that they can catch more lightning in a bottle, we saw this with Jeff Saturday last year. Big win, and then that sugar high. You know how it goes. You crash eventually.
We also can't discount the opponent, right? And yes, I know that week after week we say, oh, any given Sunday, it's the NFL. These are all top level teams. And yes, that is true. But bring that same energy if you're talking about who have the Dolphins beaten. Bring that same energy to that Raiders team. However, I do think in terms of all of the obstacles that they have had to overcome, now all of the drastic changes that Las Vegas has had to do to get a win, and a win of this fashion, a dominating win. I think this is huge for that team. I mean, we saw the guys after the game, Max Crosby with the cigar, everybody having a great time.
They won the Super Bowl.
100%. They needed that. And I think that morale does a lot for these players. They have been down and out. And I think that right now they're feeling great. And I hope that they can carry this over, right, and continue to push through for the rest of the season for sure. But the other teams in that division are doing well. The Chargers having a great week, obviously in primetime. The Chiefs having an unbelievable game overseas. Like this is a tough division. It always has been. And so I really hope that this morale boost can continue to keep their confidence going, and we can see even spicier games as we push through to the second half of the season in the AFC West.
Yeah, and then the 49ers, they're back at it. They're going to be facing a very tough Jacksonville team. But the 49ers come in with a player they didn't have before. We hadn't had a chance to talk about it, but Chase Young, and he talked about what the difference is between where he was to where he stands now.
Culture. I see why they win. Just the details of each play, the details of my assignment, much more greater. So I see why they win. I know who I am. I'm a competitor. So I mean, I'm gonna compete. I don't know what they're doing over there. That's over my head. I'm just gonna be Chase Young, and I'm gonna compete to the best I can.
I want to give you first dibs here, Will, because this is your squad you cheer for.
I love it.
What do you think? Yeah.
I absolutely love it because the 49ers were missing something. I think that Steve Wilkes was feeling a little bit of that pressure there. They did have Randy Gregory, but they needed somebody to get after the quarterback because without that pass rush, it makes the secondary so much more open to getting picked on time and time again. And the 49ers, let's not forget, they're in the midst of a 3-game losing streak. So something like this is huge. And talk about the Raiders and getting that injection of, or that jolt of energy. I think it's going to be the same thing for the 49ers, but coming out of the bye, this is no gimme. As we mentioned, the Jaguars are a legit team, and Travis Etienne, he's had an incredible season, as has Trevor Lawrence.
What I love about this, and even seeing now Chase sitting there at the 49ers facility with the backdrop, when you think about fit, immediately, yes, this makes sense. Even just style, culture, like he mentions it. The second I saw the trade news, I was like, oh my God, absolutely he fits in with this defense. And you can tell he was trying to stay calm, level-headed, as all the guys do there. But he's got to be hyped. I'm picturing him walking into that locker room and just dapping everybody up, trying to sit next to Nick Bosa, talking to Fred Warner. Like, this is going to be an unbelievable boost. And I mean, I was talking to some folks about the 49ers and what's going on now. And look, if your team is going to have a skid, better to have it now than in the latter part of the season or down the stretch going into playoffs. So now they have this opportunity where everybody can rest, everybody can get healthy. Chase Young comes in, and they have an interesting way of taking these guys who came into the league like Chase with tremendous potential. I mean, everything that Chase did in his rookie season, my God, that doesn't just go away, even though he has dealt with a series of injuries. But I think there's just something about the way that the 49ers develop talent. And if they went out and got this man, I know that they see it and they know what they can do and formulate around it. So I would be concerned if you're looking at, I'm looking at the 49ers schedule right now for the rest of the season. Obviously Jacksonville, then it's Tampa, Seattle, Philly. That's going to be a tough one. Then Seattle again, Arizona, we can somewhat deduce that it'll probably be a good game for them. Baltimore is going to be a big one. That's the Christmas game.
And Baltimore is a great team right now. I mean, their defense and offense, they are absolutely rolling. That's a team that I would be scared to face at this very moment.
No question. No question. So it's not this like easy, let's just go through it schedule for sure. It's going to be challenging. That strength of schedule for the rest of the year for the 49ers. But I think that's exactly why they made a move like this, to make sure that their defense does in fact win championships. And they can get there. This might be the first time I've said it this season, and I'm over, like my dad cliche was overdue on that.
I love it. And now I love the very end of it. We're here at I Punto. And can I just tell you, my punto is, even if you're not a Houston Texans fan, go watch CJ Stroud and this offense.
Please.
It is
God.
So much fun. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz. This team has so many weapons, and they throw so much, and 470 yards and 5 touchdowns for CJ Stroud. Not an easy one coming up against the Bengals, but do yourself a favor. Watch the Texans play offense. You will not be disappointed.
I've been calling the Texans for several weeks now, right? I think it's easy to discount them because they were 3-4 before coming into this game, but there is just this sparkle in DeMeco Ryans that we have been watching since he was over with the 49ers and now certainly in the head coaching position. CJ Stroud is as special of a player as they come. And even with a full, you guys have to remember, I'm watching these early and late window games, late night here in Germany, right? So we've already gone through the entire game here, then the late games start to pop in. So I'm half delirious. And maybe that's what led me to say, I'm watching this Texans game. What, they have 30 seconds left on the clock at that point, late in the fourth quarter. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like CJ Stroud's going to come in here and he's going to do something. They're going to punch it in and they're going to get a touchdown. And sure enough. And I was like, God, I just want to thank you for putting these thoughts in my brain and letting me say them out loud. Sometimes I don't always say it. And I'm surrounded by all these folks from our like NFL league office. Like Nish was in the building watching this alongside with me. And I was just like, screw it. Who cares? Like, this is the Houston Texans. Like, nobody's really paying attention to them. But man, I have had my eye on them all season just because I know how special that combo, that head coach QB combo can sort of be. There's still a lot to play. I'm not saying, hey, they're going to make it to the playoffs. Who knows? But at least last week, man, they were fun to watch.
Yeah, they were. They were.
My punto is I'm jet lagged, you guys. So if anything that I say sounds crazy, just lean in and go with it. I promise in my brain, it's all aligned. But it's been cool to be over here. I do sit back and take stock of these experiences, right? I think we get so caught up in the season. The days are long, but the season is short. And it really does go very quick. And that's a direct quote from our amazing Puma Nelson, one of our floor managers, who's always dropping knowledge. And I made sure to take a moment in Frankfurt on Sunday and just look around and take it in and understand how much this grows. And sometimes we get desensitized to the access that we have, to the experiences that we get to live out. So I'm very grateful and blessed to be able to be your eyes and ears through some of these experiences. And hopefully my even jet lag words are bringing it true and bringing it home to you guys. So thank you for allowing me to do that.
I know we are grateful and blessed that you are on this podcast and you and I are on this journey. So continue to crush it out there. You know, we're going to be watching, and try to get some sleep, stay hydrated. And I hope to hear some stories when you come back. Okay. For sure.
There's always stories. Not all of them make the pod, and some of them come along on the pod. But it's always a great time. I will let you guys know how Bromania goes. That's going to be fun.
Yes, I want to hear what that's all about. MJ, you are the best. Prima hermana, safe travels. Enjoy the experience. If you are listening to the El Huddle podcast and you like it, you want to be part of La Familia, download, like, and subscribe. And we always love to hear from you. Prima hermana, adios. Take care. Great seeing you.
Bye, everybody.